The oxygen hissed its familiar tune, a sound that had been the soundtrack to my life for 3 weeks. From my hospital bed, I watched the seasons change through the window. The maple tree outside, a blaze of orange and red, was a stark reminder that time was moving on without me at my farm. My farm. The words were a solid, comforting weight in my chest, a counterbalance to the frail body the doctors were still piecing back together. My son, Ben, visited every day. His face, so like his father's, was a canvas of concern. But lately, a new layer had settled over his features, a nervous, eager energy. His wife, Chloe, was always with him, her hand clutching his, her smile a little too bright. "Dad," Ben said one afternoon, bypassing the usual small talk, "we need to talk about the future." Chloe squeezed his hand, a silent prompt. "The farm, it's too much for you. The maintenance, the property tax, we're worried." Chloe found a developer who made a phenomenal offer. It's life-changing money. You could buy a nice little bungalow in town, be close to everything. The words landed like stones. Sell my farm? The land my great-grandfather homesteaded? The soil I'd learned to walk on? The fields where I taught Ben to ride a bike before the driveway was even paved? "I'm not dead yet, Ben," I said, my voice raspy but firm. "Of course not," Chloe chimed in, her tone syrupy with false reassurance. "This is about making your life easier, a fresh start. You won't have to worry about a thing. We've already spoken with the lawyer. The offer is time-sensitive." The use of "we" and the mention of a lawyer sent a cold shiver down my spine. They weren't just suggesting, they were orchestrating. They saw me as a dying man, a problem to be solved, an asset to be liquidated. The betrayal was a physical ache, deeper than any surgical incision. I closed my eyes, feigning a wave of fatigue. "We'll discuss it later." They left buoyed by what they perceived as my non-refusal. Lying in the sterile silence, a plan began to form in my mind. It was a cruel twist of fate that the very developer they were so eager to sell to was the same one who, months ago, I'd quietly refused. My land wasn't for sale, but more importantly, I held a card they never imagined was in the deck. Weeks passed. I signed the discharge papers with a steady hand. I did not return to the farm immediately. Instead, I went to my attorney's office, then to the local diner, and finally, I made a phone call. The day of the meeting arrived. Ben and Chloe picked me up, their excitement palpable. They chattered about new houses and financial freedom, all the way to the title company's conference room. A sleek man in an expensive suit, the developer, was already there, smiling. "Wonderful to see you looking so well, Mr. Henderson," he said, extending a hand I did not take. We took our seats. Papers were spread across the polished mahogany table. "This is a standard purchase agreement," the developer began. "Just needs your signature and we can proceed to closing." I let the silence hang in the air for a moment, thick and heavy. Then I reached into the worn leather satchel I'd brought with me and pulled out a single, thick file. "I understand you're both very eager to see this land change hands," I said, my gaze shifting from Ben's hopeful face to Chloe's triumphant one. "But before we discuss me selling my property, I think we should discuss your parents selling theirs." Chloe's smile froze. My parents? What did they have to do with this?" I opened the file. "Everything, my dear." I slid a document across the table. It was the mortgage deed for a handsome modern house in the next county, the house where Chloe's parents lived. And at the bottom, clear as day, was the lender's name. My name. The color drained from Chloe's face. Her parents had come to me 2 years prior, their retirement funds decimated by a bad investment. They needed a private loan to keep their home. I provided it, with a gentleman's agreement and a low interest rate. They were proud people. We kept it quiet. You, stammered Ben, his eyes wide with disbelief. You own the Fletcher's mortgage? I do, I said, my voice calm. And the terms of that loan are very specific. It becomes due in full immediately upon the sale of my farm without my express, written, and legally verified consent. I looked directly at Chloe. So, if you convince my son to sell my home out from under me while you think I'm on my deathbed, your parents will be homeless before the ink is dry. The conference room was tomb silent. The developer slowly gathered his papers, muttering about family disputes. He left without another word. Chloe was crying, great heaving sobs of shame and panic. Ben just stared at me, a stranger in his father's skin. You played a dangerous game, I said, standing up. You saw me as a weak old man and my land as your lottery ticket. You forgot that roots run deep, deeper than greed and certainly deeper than your disrespect. I walked out of that room, leaving the silence behind me. The farm was still mine. The trust between a father and his son was another matter, a field left fallow and scarred. It would be a long, cold season before anything could hope to grow there again.